Hello, friends. Today I want to talk about how we can end a story. Ending stories can be really tricky. It's one of those hard things that we're not sometimes sure what to do. When you read a story, you don't hear authors typically say, "And that's how the story ended," or "the end," or "then I went to bed." But instead they have some kind of other ending. In fact, what authors do is they use various strategies to end their stories. So today what I'd like to do is share with you 3 stories. I'm not going to read the whole story. What I'm going to do is share with you what the story's about and then read the ending. And we're going to look to see what strategies do these authors use. The first story I want to share with you is called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Now, this story is about the big bad wolf. And in this story, the big bad wolf tells you, you know what? The story is not how you think. I was framed. I didn't do anything wrong. It's not my fault that those pigs got eaten. Somebody framed me. Framed means that they told that he made it look like he did something he said he really didn't do. So as the author ends the story, here's what it says. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. And then there's one more page that says, but maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? So the author does 2 things. First of all, they end with a little bit of humor. That's this page. But the page before is kind of the more important ending. And here, what they're doing in this page is that they're reminding you what the whole story is about. The whole story is really about the wolf being framed. And that's what he reminds you of at the end. So one strategy that authors use when writing a story and ending it is to remind you what the whole story was about. The second story I want to share with you is Owl Moon. And in this story, a young boy and his father go out one night in the moonlight to look for owls. They quietly walk through the woods. They don't say any words. It's cold. It takes a while for them to find the owl, but finally they do. And as they're walking home, the young boy says, doesn't say this, but the whole story, there's no actual, he's thinking this. There is dialogue, but he's actually thinking this in his head. And so he tells you this. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says. The kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. What does the author do here to end the story? In this ending, the author has learned an important lesson. And they remind you what the lesson is that they've learned. They've learned that you don't need words when you go owling. You don't need it to be warm. All you need is hope. So the ending to the story, the strategy the author used was an important reflection or lesson learned. That's the second type of ending we see. The last story I'm going to share with you is from My Rotten Redheaded Older Brother. And in this story about 2 siblings, a boy and a girl, Trisha and Richie, they are, Trisha, this younger sister, is trying to share with her brother, to show her brother, hey, I can be better than you at something. So she tries and tries and tries and finally sort of succeeds at being better than her brother. Her brother realizes, yeah, okay, you really did that well. And it's kind of a victory for Trisha, the main character. So this is how the story ends. These are the words. Then we all just lay in our blankets in the gentle summer night. I'll always be 4 years older than you, though, my brother whispered softly, and then he smiled. All of us held each other's hands, and then we drifted off to sleep. How does the author end this story? In this story, the author ends with important dialogue. with the brothers saying, kind of teasing a little bit, I'll always be older than you, but also smiling, recognizing that, yeah, Trisha did something a little bit better than him. So it ends on a really positive, sweet, warm note, and the dialogue lets you know that. So the third way is to use important dialogue. So 3 strategies. 1, from the story of the Big Bad Wolf, the true story of the Big Bad Wolf, the author says that he's reminding you what the whole story's about. And then from Al Moon, the second strategy, an important reflection, a lesson that the student or the child in the story learned. And then the third way that we see that authors can end stories is with important dialogue. These are 3 ways that you can think about ending your stories as well. When you finish watching this video, go to the Schoology page and look for 2 different documents that I've posted that have more strategies that authors use to end stories. See if you can't use these endings in stories that you write. Happy writing!